and I hope everyone had a great 4th of July. Now, as everyone knows, we have a really busy work period ahead of us, and we know it's not going to be easy, but every member of our caucus knows it's going to be worth it. First, I want to remind everyone, because of Senate Democrats, this week, tens of millions of American families will receive their first monthly CTC check. It's a huge deal. It's going to help many families. It helps poor families, and half the kids in America will either be brought up out of poverty or close to the poverty line. And for a poor family that's worried about paying the rent or putting food on the table, this is a godsend that a lot of people of higher income don't even contemplate or realize. And it also helps middle-class families. We all know middle-class families have struggled with COVID in many ways, whether it's child care or losing a job or lower salaries or you name it, and this is going to help them too. And so we're really proud of it, and it's a huge deal. And it shows you when Democrats are unified and working for average middle-class families, we can get a lot done, and the country is on our side to get it done. I also want to add to you that I am meeting at 3 p.m. With a brave group of Democratic lawmakers from Texas. What the Republican governor is doing in Texas is just despicable. Despicable. It boils my blood to even watch what they're doing to these brave people, when there's not any serious evidence of voter fraud. We know what they're doing. History will show them that they're on the right. History will show that these Texas legislators, these brave people who are visiting us here in D.C., are on the right side. And history will show that the Texas governor are on the wrong side. And when you hear the arguments from some of our Senate Republicans, they're not that different than the arguments made by segregationist senators from the South 50 years ago, in terms of voting rights and states' rights to block voting rights, etc. Now, let me go to infrastructure. We are really making good progress on our two-track strategy. You can ask my colleagues here. We had a great caucus discussion. Views were discussed, but the unity in our caucus, that we all know that the worst outcome for the American people is for us to do nothing, I think every Democratic senator understands that. And every Democratic, once you understand that, you know that we must have unity. There are lots of members who would want to say, well, if I don't get this, I can't vote for the bill, or if I don't get that. But that can't happen if we're going to help the American people in the boldest, biggest legislation in a very, very long time that helps the middle class. Compare our bill to the Republican bill, their big major foray. Their foray was a tax cut on the very wealthy. Some statistics show the top 1% got 83% of their benefit. Our bill is aimed at the middle class and those struggling to get there in many, many different ways. And I really salute Joe Biden for putting it on the table, and I salute my colleagues for making new additions that they want to put in that bill. The federal government has not made and on the bipartisan infrastructure bill, we're moving forward. We had a report today. We had a report from Kyrsten Sinema, and she is optimistic that we can get to the goal that I proposed, that we have legislation ready by Friday. Our infrastructure, we're the largest economy in the world. Our infrastructure is 13th. And so we need to do that. So it's time to rebuild our infrastructure, create millions of good-paying jobs, particularly for those who've been unable to get those jobs, help American families keep up with rising expenses, and deal with the scourge of global warming, which Patty just saw in her state. To hear that it was 115 degrees in Portland, Oregon, must make everybody. No, I know, but you were only 106 or something, right?
They were 112, 115.
112, okay. To hear that it was 115 degrees, which I just heard, even in the beautiful, cool, lovely place of Seattle on Puget Sound, sorry for my attempt at poetry, it just should be a warning signal to everyone that we have to act. So, we've all been talking with one another. The Budget Committee will meet tonight. I'm hopeful that we can come up with an agreement. I've been speaking to the White House on a daily basis. I've been speaking to my members all around the clock, and our plan is to move forward with both tracks. In this work period, I believe we're in a good place to try and get that done, as difficult, and we don't underestimate as difficult as this task is. Senator Durbin.